demeanor. Instead, there was more than a few nervous smiles. End of chapter. Chapter 136 Departure. Chapter 136 Departure. Can a spiritual root still be replenished? Isn't this ruining the qualifications? Old man Zhang attracted quite a few people over with his shock. He. You don't know this. Spirit roots can be replenished and can grow to become a higher level of physique. The qualifications will become better. However, it requires a great chance to do so, or else you won't be so lucky. Old man Zhang was not angry and explained. Indeed, these are the effects that appeared when I ate an elixir before, but at that time I didn't know what kind of elixir it was. Chu Feng clearly knew that this guy had real kung fu in his hands, and at that moment, he also told the matter of him eating the spirit medicine. This boy is really good under. How nice it would be if I were. Indeed, with this physique, I would have broken through the true immortal realm long ago, and would still be here. Good luck guys. For a time, the surrounding people looked at Chu Feng with envious eyes. There was even a look of incomparable jealousy coming out of his mouth. There were even some who wanted to catch Chu Feng out and tell him about the place where he had found the spirit medicine. After all, the spiritual medicine under the sky is not scattered distribution. There is a divine medicine and the place must have other spiritual medicine appeared. They didn't ask to be able to find the divine pill, but it was good to be able to find other elixirs. However, upon seeing Xiao Qian, who was guarding Chu Feng's side, they immediately shriveled up. The mind instantly stopped thinking like that and left in droves. The few that didn't leave wanted to see what old man Zhang, the pit bull, would recommend for this cultivator to cultivate. Tell me, what technique is suitable for me to cultivate? Waiting for old man Zhang to come to a complete stop, Chu Feng directly inquired. There are two options. Look which one you are going to choose. The first one is to cultivate normal gongfu, while the second one is divine soul dual cultivation. Which one do you want? Old man Zhang pondered for a moment and gave Chu Feng two choices. In fact, he preferred Chu Feng to choose the second one, so that he would have another test subject. But Xiao Qian was here and had explicitly said that this could not be messed up, so he could only fool this kid. Tell me about the benefits of these two choices. Chu Feng did not have much knowledge about this aspect. The first option is to cultivate as they do, with a rapid increase in strength, but too mediocre. The second option is that the way forward is unknown, but according to the ancient descriptions, the power is incomparably powerful and the means are extraordinary. The most famous one is the ancient period's imperial sword that beheads people from 1,000 miles away. Old man Zhang was also worthy of being a master of pitfalls, directly bringing up the imperial sword from the ancient times, said the coquettish one, because this claim of his, which is completely unattainable in this period, is at best silenced from dozens of miles away. At this point, because of the spiritual energy conduction problem, the spiritual energy dispersed faster as the distance got further away. Although they were able to pulverize a piece of earth, they were unable to accurately decimate people. What about the conditions of cultivation? Chu Feng was not in existence to be fooled either. If this thing was so good to practice, it wouldn't be here anymore. These will depend on the talent. One of them is to awaken the divine idea in advance. Only then will you be able to bring up a strong enough divine idea. Old man Zhang said. This token is able to choose any technique here. Right. And there is no quantity limit in it, right? Chu Feng suddenly asked without a clue. Old man Zhang on one side didn't react to Chu Feng's jumpy character. Just before he was talking about the effects of the choice. Why did he suddenly ask about this? Yes, Lord Demon Emperor is the heaven of the demon race. With her token you can want anything. On one side, Xiao Qian faithfully returned. This chick can do it. We have to go back and talk to Shirshir so that she rewards her for it. Chu Feng raised a thumbs up in his heart for Xiao Qian's answer. Then give me a copy of both sets of choices. Among them, there are also spells that suit me as well. Come a few copies for me. Chu Feng made his choice. Yes, old man Zhang agreed directly. Whether this matter succeeds or fails, there is no loss for him. This is the technique you need, as well as the spell aptitude. Since you have the Demon Emperor's token, there is no need for you to memorize these feats here, as we have topographed a copy of each one in the jade slip. As soon as you finish the inheritance, the contents will be automatically destroyed. Old man Zhang handed over more than 10 jade slips to Chu Feng and said indifferently, "Thanks a lot." After Chu Feng received old man Zhang's jade slip, he turned around and left. All of these feats would become his means, and he could not let too many people know about them. Little 5 elements void sword? This is a good spell. Completely just more skillful and useful than the means I had in my last life as a sword cultivator, but just a little weaker in killing power than a sword cultivator. After going back, Chu Feng put the feats into categories. The first thing taken out was the spell aptitude. The first few were normal spells, and as long as they were practiced well, they would be able to be used as regular means. He directly skimmed over it, and what remained was the gong method that the other party took out about the cultivation of the ancient cultivators. The small 5 elements void sword is a simplified version of the mixed void sword, suitable for cultivators to use before the mortalization realm, and is powerful beyond compare. Among them, the small 5 elements void sword had a flexible and changeable stance, with sword formations such as the 3 talents sword, the 4 elements sword, and the 5 elements sword. And as the attributes become more powerful, they become more powerful. However, it just consumes a bit more spiritual energy and uses more swords. And most importantly, these sword techniques required the cultivator to use divine thoughts to control them. And this was a difficult point. Nowadays all cultivators cultivated spiritual power. Very few cultivated divine thoughts, resulting in very few people being able to cultivate successfully. That's why this feat was eating dust inside the spell pavilion. Seeing the introduction therein, Chu Feng decided to cultivate. With this power and the conditions, as well as the help of the game system, he didn't believe that he still couldn't succeed in his cultivation. Actually chose the ancient cultivator's spell aptitude. Then the gong method also chose the ancient gong methods. One of them is the mixed Yuan Yi Qi technique. It can improve the strength of the physical body while cultivating. Dual cultivation of the law and body, right? This is. Chu Feng's face was a bit odd. The more he understood what the ancient cultivators practiced, the more he felt that this thing was not imaginary. However, while strengthening the body, this technique has a drawback, which is that it consumes a great deal of spiritual energy, and it is extremely easy to encounter bottlenecks. Chu Feng also found the reason why others did not cultivate this technique. It takes a long time and is not always successful. By the time they succeeded in their cultivation, they had exhausted their lifespan and stepped into the yellow earth. While there is this 9 revolution Xianshan skill, it is a technique to cultivate the divine idea. The effect is also extremely good. As long as one is able to cultivate successfully, the divine idea will be able to be raised to the level of the same grade from 3 times to 9 times the level of the same grade. It's completely a divine feat. Looking at the introduction of the divine concept technique on it, Chu Feng wanted to impatiently cultivate it. Because of all the situations described in it, it made him think back to human descriptions of immortal gods. A single thought transforms thousands, turning stones into gold, and a single instant is a stone's throw away. On these instructions, it's all there. Looking at the introduction on it, Chu Feng was really hot. Start practicing. Immediately, Chu Feng understood a bit, sat down and began to cultivate the technique. 2 days passed in a flash. Be careful. I've got everything. Looking at Chu Feng who was about to leave, Tang Shishi's heart rose with some reluctance. However, she knew that for someone like Chu Feng who sought to be powerful, it was best to follow his wishes. It's highly likely to cause an accident if it stays trapped. Okay, when I come back, we'll make our hut together. Chu Feng waved his hand and said with a smile. He was afraid that if he continued to stay here, Tang Shishi might not let him leave. Parting was the most difficult, especially compared to 2 people like Chu Feng who had just finalized their relationship. After saying goodbye, Chu Feng took Chao Qian on the road. My lord, please follow me. After boarding the spirit ship, a demonic attendant came up to lead the way to the front. This was the carrier that had picked up Chu Feng from the past to attend the 9 turns blood vine pool assembly. It is a 12th grade immortal weapon. It was more than 100 meters long and 30 meters wide, with a height of 5 stories. It was equipped with an extremely large number of formations, both defensive and accelerating, and even had dozens of spirit crystal turrets. Each of such weapons had the power of the true immortal realm. Among the demon race, it was also extremely rare. It's also clear from here that Tang Shishi has a fondness for Chu Feng. This is the main room of the Xianyu boat. For the remaining 2 days, Your Excellency can rest and recuperate here, and after 2 days we will be able to arrive in Tongzhou where the 9-turn blood vine pool is located. The attendant who brought Chu Feng inside carefully introduced Chu Feng to the things that happened along the way. Well, you go on down. After roughly understanding the contents of this side, Chu Feng let him go down. Yes, my lord. The valet was ordered to leave quickly. Only Chao Qian and Chu Feng were left behind in the original spot. Chao Qian, you can stay next door. After strolling around, Chu Feng realized that this main room was a complete palace. A side hall existed on either side, and in the center was a large hall where people could meet. As for the back there is a main room. Inside, there is a cultivation room, bedroom, study and so on. The layout can be luxurious. Yes, Your Excellency, call me if there's anything. Chao Qian playfully looked at Chu Feng, gave Chu Feng a teasing smile and left. This ninny, she's really no big deal. After what happened before, I don't know what kind of accident happened to this niece, but she even started to tease him, and the relationship was even much closer. Let's hope that we can settle down a bit back there. Chu Feng felt more and more pressed for time. Shaking his head to put these trivialities aside, he began to cultivate. Lord Demon Emperor, to think that he would want to have me serve His Excellency in advance. I don't know what he was thinking, but the male is really attractive, though not very handsome. Chao Qian, who had left, with a scarlet face, recalled when she had brought Chu Feng back with her serious injuries. The Demon Emperor Sama was extremely annoyed, and after understanding what happened, he inquired about her for a bit. Do you want to become Chu Feng's concubine? If they wanted to, they stayed behind and always followed Chu Feng's actions behind them. If you don't want to, then leave. It was because she knew that as the leader of the demon race, it was impossible for her to stay by Chu Feng's side all the time, follow him on his adventures and improve his strength. But without putting someone by Chu Feng's side, then any accident could happen. So rather than letting the unexpected happen, it's better to prepare in advance. That's why the party is doing what it's doing. The process, however, was one that Xiao Qian was extremely willing to go through. That's why it contributed to such a thing. And the only one of the three who was still in the dark was Chu Feng, who didn't know anything. Tongzhou, the city of Bloodvines. Bloodvine City was the territory of the Bloodvine clan, the demon god within the demon clan. But at this moment, there was not a single demon race to be seen inside the city at all. Most of them were carrying a slave collar in general, following around a demonic race, a demonic cultivator's demonic pet, and the real demons were missing instead, because all the demon races have been wiped out. At this moment in a giant, brilliant building, a bunch of people in gorgeous clothes were talking about something. I heard that a little white boy came from the demon emperor's side, causing her to split a quota. Are you guys angry? Is this thing real or fake? Of course it's true. A few days ago someone else sent word that someone went to the spell pavilion with a token and took some of the spells inside out. Most importantly, the elders also came out to pick out merit techniques for each other. Hiss. This thing would be impossible to fake. To have such a face. A group of demonic cultivators sniffed and discussed. Every single one of them is a constipated mess, because they feel like their babies and goddesses are being snatched away from them in general. One must know that Tang Shishir was not only the leader of everyone inside the demon clan, but also their dream girl. Nobility and high spirits are synonymous with her. Beauty is also synonymous with her. All of the demons, all of them fought for their lives to be able to gain the appreciation of the other side. Unfortunately, since its debut, no man has been able to get into each other's eyes, so they can only envy these people. At the same time, subconsciously discussing and gossiping about it. Nangong Ming, this time I want you to go down and waste this legendary little white boy. In a large hall, a middle-aged man with a grim expression looked at the teenager who was slightly seated in it and said coldly, "And the cost?" The young man at the bottom didn't even look at the other man. He just said, "As long as you waste the other party, then I will release your sister, and will also provide a residence for you to retreat to. How about it?" The middle-aged man said directly, "Yes." Upon hearing these words, the young man's eyes opened a few moments more spiritually as if he had been injected with a soul. This is a heaven and earth contract. As long as you sign it, then the contract is established. Sign it. Nangong Ming didn't believe the other party's words, but instead took out a contract and put it in front of him. Only one shot? Looking at the conditions above, the middle-aged man shouted with extreme dissatisfaction, "As long as the other side is as strong as you say, then we can definitely accomplish it. And if it's not the same, then..." Nangong Ming didn't bargain, but said directly, "As long as I lay my hands on you, then it's still one thing if I can get away with dragging it out. Not to mention I don't trust you." Nangong Ming stared at him coldly, a murderous aura flickering in his eyes. End of chapter. Chapter 137T. Chapter 137T. Okay. After seeing that Nangong Ming wasn't easy to fool, the middle-aged man didn't continue to press. After the two signed the contract, Nangong Ming left the spot. Kid, you're still too young. It's impossible for someone who assassinated the demon emperor to still want to survive. Even if you survive and want to escape, you still have to rely on me. It's easy for you to escape by yourself, but what about adding an ordinary person? The middle-aged man looked at the departing Nangong Ming and laughed with a grim expression on his face. It's definitely not easy, but do it for your sister. The departing Nangong Ming pondered for a while, couldn't help but sigh, and finally resigned himself to his fate. This thing is extremely uncomplicated any way you look at it. After all, this involved an existence at the level of the demon emperor. But in order to accomplish his goal and save his sister, everyone in the world can be killed. What's more, it's not out of the question if things are designed well. But, after thinking for a while, Nangong Ming left the place. He needed to go prepare what he needed for the mission. Assassination isn't just a matter of going up there. It requires information, the target of the mission and a wide variety of intelligence, and other preparations. It was even more so in the immortal cultivation world. With the existence of divine thoughts, it was even more impossible to assassinate that. No one will give you a chance. The only way to accomplish the goal is to engineer an accident on your own, in a mountain peak where no one had arrived. At this time, however, there was a figure falling from time to time. At this moment, there was an old man dressed in a shin clothes falling down. Coming, Shin Ez. Before the other person could sit down, a man's hoarse voice rang out. Stargazer, if you can come, why can't I? Let alone something as big as this. The old man was not one to be messed with, and he directly disliked him. All right, let's wait.